So we are in the final hours before the
inauguration.
The inauguration. It's a crazy time. I didn't think that I would be this. I really thought after the election, I would wrap my head around it and I would be like, okay, this is normal. Trump is going to be president. Like, I would have some sense of like, okay, I don't feel any more ready for this than I was the night after the election.
No, it's weird. It's 100% weird. I was watching this video that someone was playing on their Instagram page where they were there while Trump was walking into this room in D.C. and surrounded by Secret Service agents and all these sycophants and all these weird people around him, and this guy's yelling out, "Thank you, Mr. Trump. Thank you. You are a godsend, sir. You're a god." Andrew Santino, ladies and gentlemen, come on in. Have a seat, fella. You're coming in right at the time Jeff Ross is handing you a joint.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. Buddy. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Santino, live Netflix special on the way. Trump supporter, by the way. He voted 5 times.
Huge Trump supporter. I voted as many times as I could. Yeah, I kept doing it.
He had a fake ID, pretended to be Mexican.
I did, actually. Yeah, I became Andrew Santino. So I switched it up.
Santino.
Yeah, Santino. Yeah, Santiago. Yeah, big Trump supporter. Fitz, you are too.
Well, I'll just say right now, ladies, get your abortions before noon tomorrow.
Don't you think Trump's had a lot of girls get abortions? I think he's going to back off of that.
Are you shitting me? He's got a frequent fetus card. Oh, yeah. He's driven a few ladies off into the clinic.
Of course.
Absolutely.
That's his thing.
Well, they were saying that about G.W. Bush, was that there was a pretty well-documented case when he was in college. Where'd he go, to Texas or something?
Yeah.
He
went to college?
He went to fucking Yale, didn't he?
No.
Yeah.
No, Wharton School of Business, right?
No, that's Trump. Talking about GW.
Oh, okay.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
I think he did go to Yale, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was in Skull and Bones, right?
Yeah, GW.
All the Bushes went to Yale.
Right.
That's one of those grandfathered in things, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, your whole
How
family
about George
gets to
and
go.
Barbara Bush doing double suicide to get out of going to the inauguration?
What are they doing?
They're both in the hospital.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both dying right now on
They're
purpose.
like, why don't we just stop taking our medication? What do you think, Georgie? Maybe we should stop taking our medical. We won't have to go to the inauguration.
What medicine? Who are you?
I want to go skydiving.
Why is Martha Washington in my bedroom?
Jeff, put that down.
I didn't see him for years, and then I saw him recently, and he was in a wheelchair on some interview and some video, and it made you realize, like, wow, it's been a while.
I
since
know.
we
It's
saw
crazy
him.
to think that Carter's still alive and W's still alive.
How old's Carter?
George Bush.
He's old.
Well, he was old when he was
like
president in
90.
76.
Was he?
Yeah, he was already old.
Yeah.
He was an interesting guy, man. You know, Carter didn't really get a fair shake. He was
Go to the presidential library. Carter's in Atlanta is awesome. You should check it out.
Well, I heard some speeches that he gave before when he was running for president, back when Hunter S. Thompson recorded a speech that he gave at one of those Washington. Is it out?
No.
And it was, what's more?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm good too. Oh, Jesus. It was in that movie, Fear and Loathing. Not Fear and Loathing, the other one. Gonzo, the life and works of Dr. Hunter S. Thompson, the documentary on him. Really interesting, man. Like, Carter was, he was a pretty intense and moral guy. Like, very, very powerfully so.
He was a good Christian. He was the good kind of Christian.
The good kind.
Well, because I think people can use Christianity as a way of feeling better than, or it can be a life of service. And he was very much a life of service.
Right, there's like the way that like my dad goes to church still just because he just likes the people that are there.
Yeah.
More so than anything else. He's like, I just want to go see fucking people that I've known for 40 years.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't really listen ever. I mean, my dad is notoriously just falling asleep
in church
every single time. Yeah, he's just there to like see some friends before and after.
Yeah.
It's a club.
But
do
you
club.
think, I mean, because I go back and forth on religion because it's so easy to take like the agnostic route and say that all religion is evil and all that. But it's like so much good shit has happened because of organized religion. I mean, you look at what the Jews have done in this country with just fucking hospitals alone. And then you got Christians that have gone to Central America, nuns that have fucking saved villages. And
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's tons of good stuff. I think the cheap fucking route is to say that religion sucks, just because that's a easy blanket to go, fuck religion. It's just caused every war. It's the worst thing. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of fucking negatives to it.
Yeah, they blamed it on every war, but war is something that's caused by people.
Yeah.
And people would have found a reason to go to war. They go to war because they're apes.
Yeah.
They go to war because apes fight against apes. It's like they're always dominating for that alpha position. If they're blaming it on religion, it's just a convenient reason to go fuck somebody up. They would have done it if they had diamonds, or they'd do it for oil. They're not.
Yeah, that's the thing in Ireland. They try to pretend that it's a war between the Protestants and the Catholics. No, it's the fucking Brits trying to colonize and destroy a population of people.
Yeah.
That's it.
And people get tribal. They get, people will fight, the fucking Raiders will fight the Eagles. The fans will meet in the parking lot and have a fucking gang war. That's just what people do.
For a shirt color.
Yeah, that's what people do. I mean, didn't they beat some guy almost to death in
Dodger Stadium?
Yeah,
he put him in a coma.
Horrible.
San Francisco fan.
Some guy with his kid, right?
Yeah, kids. He had his kids with him, and two dudes just.
Yeah, but I think the kid was autistic, though.
Was he?
He just
No,
went
I'm
for
just
it.
kidding.
He just
I was
went
gonna
for it.
say.
Couldn't help himself. His instincts took over.
He was autistic, yeah.
It's just crazy how tribal people are. And that's one of the things that you're seeing with this election, too. Whether you're a Trump supporter or a Hillary supporter or a Bernie supporter, whatever, if you just can step back from it for a second and look at it objectively, what you're seeing is these people that are like blindly loyal to one side or the other. And then you just see giant clumps of them that move in that direction. And very few people who look at it and have like a balanced perspective that's outside of like an ideology. You know what I mean? Like very few people are going, well, we got this guy who won a popularity contest, and he's the first actually popular person who won this popularity contest.
Yeah.
And everybody else who's been winning this popularity contest has just been in this one select group. So in that sense, it's a good thing. Because it's going to be a disruptive thing. And this system is not good. It's not good to have the same fucking families run the country over and over again, have the same bureaucracy, the same red tape, all the shit that people have had to deal with when it comes to politics. Like, it's not a perfect system, and it's not getting improved. And one of the reasons it doesn't get improved is because the people that run the system have a concerted, there's a great benefit for them to keep the system in place. There's plenty of jobs. There's plenty of people doing it. There's plenty of red tape. There's plenty of confusion. There's plenty of debate and influence, and it goes back and forth from side to side, and all that keeps it relevant, and it keeps people from stopping and saying, why are there these two groups? One is right and one is left. One's conservative and one's liberal, when most of us are a combination of all those things.
Well, not only that, it's all projections by the big business to say there's even a right and a left. They've got both. They're pulling the strings on both sides.
Yeah. I was saying that I remember like coming around the store and listening to people at the beginning of the campaign, Trump's campaign, like vehemently hating him so much. And that kind of like extremism was the same for like Bernie support, like the Bernie chaos, like the Bernie thing was crazy. I mean, it was like the same kind of crazy, chaotic, like fuck anybody but Bernie. And the Trump supporters were the same way. It was like, fuck anybody but Donald Trump. It was like extremes on both sides. And it's the same thing. At some point, you're at a level plane, right? 0 is the same as 100. You know what I mean? Like if I said to a friend of mine, how gay are you on a percentage scale, 0 to 100? And if a guy says 100, okay, he's gay. And then if second guy says, oh yeah, I'm, 48. I'd be like, okay, I get that. Yeah.
That's tendencies. Jeff Ross.
Yeah, Jeff, me. But then if a guy says 0, I'm 0. Fuck that. It's the same as the 100 guy.
Yeah. Right.
The extremism is the same. It's just a different angle. But there's not enough people that are 40% gay. There's not enough people in the middle of it all.
Yeah, and a lot of people try to say, well, no, I actually really am independent. And it's like, I wish, but then you talk to them a little bit, and they're on one side or the other.
Of course.
It's very difficult because there's no truth anymore. There's no paper. There's no one. There used to be like, if you watched, CBS, NBC, ABC News, there was a journalistic integrity that they subscribed to, and both sides said, these are the facts.
Right.
There's no news outlet any longer that both sides look at.
No.
That's a really important point.
It's very, very clear. It's cut and dry.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I'm curious to know when it like at what time period of politics did that become the notion of the shift of like an obvious, this is precisely who we're for, and it's clear.
I was watching CNN and Fox News back and forth, like after the debate. And it was so fascinating, man. It was like, who is telling the truth? Like, what is happening here?
Yeah,
like these are two totally different stories, and they're so clear on one side or the other. Like Fox News, excuse me, was so clear on Trump's side, and CNN was so clear on Hillary's side. It was so obvious.
Switched places in one day.
They were concentrating.
CNN and Fox News, they just switched places. Overnight.
Yeah.
Well, it's crazy how
CNN's
one of them
Fear
became
Network and Fox News is the reality.
Well, what news do you follow, Jeff?
I follow it all. I don't follow any news. I watch and read a lot of news.
Yeah.
I always.
You have like a aggregator on your phone that pulls from different news sources?
I just tend to search up topics. Be curious what Chris Christie's up to this week, or Al Franken, or I'll just get someone on my mind. Sometimes I'll go to Politico, and usually there's a great angle that you hadn't thought of.
Politico and Guardian are good for different angles.
Yeah, the Guardian's good.
Yeah, because they're outside well, originally, I guess there's a lot of their writers are Americans now, right?
Did you see the Guardian?
Initially, it was UK.
Yeah.
Okay, you want some water?
Yeah, I'm good, dude. I don't know what's going on. That weed's strong. Did you see that Guardian article by Glenn Greenwald about this unsubstantiated attacks on Trump? It was really interesting.
No. Well, like fake news?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he was talking about what Eisenhower had warned about. The military-industrial complex.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is a crazy, bold article.
And they predicted a Trump-like figure rising up.
Well, it's not just that. Like, he's talking about how the deep state is attacking Trump. Like, that's what he's bringing up, that the deep state is attacking him and going after him.
Yeah.
And that, like, the CIA and the intelligence agencies, like, they're making some sort of a concerted effort to single him out and go after him and destroy his person.
Wow.
Destroy his, public persona. And that's where all the urine thing
that's
came
just
from.
when you get into politics. When you get into politics, all this stuff bubbles up.
But those
FBI
stories are crazy.
The FBI doesn't give a fuck about politics. They care about the FBI. And if anybody crosses them the way Trump already has, they're going to try to bury him.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about that. When has there ever been a time where an unsubstantiated story about a guy who's the president-elect about peeing on beds? Like, when is there ever they've talked about that like so openly?
Yeah.
It's been so open that his last press conference, he shut down the rumor by saying he's a germaphobe.
I'm a germaphobe.
That's how massive of a story that is, that during one of the most important press conferences, he addressed that fucking thing.
He had
and
to.
It didn't stop there. Then he went on to talk about, everybody knows there's cameras in the room. I mean, what am I, stupid?
Right.
It wasn't about,
detail.
what am I, immoral? It was, what am I, stupid?
Right.
Dude,
it's unbelievable.
So
and then you watch how I don't think I've ever seen, I mean, this might be me being ignorant, but I don't know if I've ever seen a president in a press conference or president-elect shut down a source like he did. CNN was like, I won't talk to you. I absolutely, I don't know if I've ever seen a president single one out, and then they probably slyly ignore certain journalists that they don't want to fucking talk to, but I've never seen one be like, I don't talk to CNN, I don't talk to that news source, fuck you.
Well, I think that there's a protocol for who you go to first. Like for years, the first question always went to that one old woman from the Associated Press.
Yeah, from the AP, yeah.
She was always the first question. And then after that, I think there was a certain pecking order to it. And Trump just basically said, I'm going to choose what news and questions you guys hear from now on. He's not, the press corps is no longer traveling with him. It's the first time a president has not had the press corps with him at all times.
It's crazy. Yeah, because his reasoning was, he was like, what, are you going to watch me eat food? That's what he thought that they were at. He's like, no, they're interested in what's going on. They're interested in what this conversation you might be having with someone of some sense of importance. But he was like, I don't want you watching me do simple shit.
Yeah.
But that's just part of their fucking gig.
Yeah.
That's what they've always done. And then I think about that, like, how much simple shit have they seen where it's so annoying? At some point, they've got to be like, fuck, this is so boring.
Well, especially when they get on Air Force One and they're going to fucking Russia for 10 hours and they're just sitting around, and so they can do like a 30-second photo op and yell questions at him, and then another 10-hour flight home.
And imagine like one of the guys in the group is just like, I think I'm going to go talk to him. And the other guy's like, don't do it. Don't go fucking, don't go in his room, dude. It's like, what? I think we're cool now, man. We've had some moments, you know. I feel like don't be that guy. And then the rest of the 9-hour plane flight is fucking miserable.
When he was praising Kanye West for supporting him, I remember watching that on TV and going, is this real life?
Yeah, it was a trip.
Is this real life?
Wait, I read the greatest. I wish I know the source just because I don't want to fucking say somebody else's shit. But there was just a meme floating around on the internet that said, I bet you 8 years ago when Obama gained presidency, there were so many fucking extremists going, I bet you the first people he's going to talk to are rappers and Steve Harvey. And then you see fucking that's who Trump just drags in rappers and Steve. Dude, I loved it. I was like, that's so fucking true. How many white extremists were like, he's going to talk to rappers in the White House, and it's Trump that's doing it?
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, it's so funny.
Who else is he talking to? Like, who else is he like publicly
Don King.
Yeah.
Who?
Don King.
Don King?
Yeah, he loves Don King. But they've had a relationship in the past.
Right.
So like they go back. So this is almost like he gets to invite his actual friends.
Do you remember when
All his
Obama was in trouble?
Are getting ambassadorships. It's going to be crazy.
No, not Christie. Christie's getting nothing.
Nothing?
I don't mean his political friends. I mean his friends.
Yeah, his life friends.
Oh.
Yeah.
His lawyer,
do you guys remember
his buddies that he know? You know.
Do you guys remember when it was a
Business
big deal
manager.
that Obama was attached to that really radical professor?
Yeah. It's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah.
Who was one of the weathermen? Is that what it was? Is that what
the
they called
weathermen.
themselves? And they were like doing acid and having orgies and shit and robbing banks or something. And he was like a part of that in some way. And he was a professor that Obama knew in college. And there was always this big controversy that he knew this radical terrorist.
Right.
That Obama is like some fucking sleeper guy. Like
No,
a
but he
sleeper
was
cell.
no, but he did have to distance himself from the guy
Yeah.
because the guy did have some very pro secession. What do they call it? The blacks that think you should return to Africa and whites should pay for it. He was one of those guys. Secessionist?
Yeah, I guess that's what that would be.
Secessionist?
Secessionist.
Secession, right?
Secession?
Secession, yeah, to secede.
So we know he had to back off from that guy. But it's what about the guy who marched?
Have you guys seen his brother? Do you
We
know
have
about
like
his brother on
Whose
fucking
brother?
Twitter? Obama's brother. Do you know this account? Have you heard about this?
No.
There's like a guy who's saying he's his brother, and it's like, he's like, I don't support him. I support Trump. You haven't
Yeah,
seen
I
this?
saw something.
He's
in the
pretending
paper.
to be his brother?
You saw this?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
He has a half brother.
he's a half brother.
That is fake news.
It probably is. Who knows? It
I
doesn't
saw
matter.
Obama
That's the
talking
thing.
about fake news. He was talking about it too.
I think that was fake.
But Trump was fucking talking. Trump was talking to this dude like, thanks for the support. Like, thanks for not supporting your half brother.
Well, I mean, you want to talk about fake news. How about Trump ran around for 3 years saying that fucking Obama wasn't born in this country?
I know.
That was crazy. I mean, that was the beginning of fake news.
Let me see his ID. Let me see his birth certificate.
Yeah.
And then how about the irony? Now Trump won't show his fucking taxes. He won't, and because his excuse is even after the audit's over, what do people need to see now? Like, that's the reasoning. Is like, what do you want to see? Mm-hmm. If I get audited and I fucking deal with the government through the audit, what do you need to know other than we're taking care of it?
I think people want to know
crazy.
how much money he has borrowed from China and Russia.
Yeah.
Because that could really affect his, policy decisions.
Absolutely.
I thought that was like one of the things that you had to divulge your income.
You do.
Like, wasn't that a deal with Howard? That's why Howard didn't eventually like really run for governor after a certain point because they wanted him to divulge his taxes.
Yeah,
Well, that's how they found out he hasn't paid his taxes. He doesn't pay taxes because of his major loss a long time ago.
Oh, that was that weird thing,
Atlantic
right?
City
So
loss.
that he had to make some disclosure, but he doesn't. It's not. It's a general summary of his income.
It would also say
It's like
how
where
much
he has money in certain types of ways, but it's not his income taxes where you know what he spent on phone calls and security and everything, and
It's just investments.
where he
and shit.
goes.
It would
and all
also
that.
tell you how much he's donated to charity, which he doesn't want people to know. I mean, he created his own charitable, what do you call it? Charity.
Yeah, charitable fund, charitable charity.
Charitable charity. And apparently he hasn't given any money to it in like 2 or 3 years. It's just been money he solicited from people on the outside to give to his charity,
Right.
that then he disperses.
God, that's so crazy.
But that's the whole thing is like, then do we know that that's real too? Like that's the other, I don't know.
right.
I would like to think that's got to be true, but then I'm like, I don't know.
No, because they can solicit the records of his charity.
Of the nonprofit.
Right.
Right. But they can't do it for his personal
Right.
and private. Right.
That's so
Game
nuts.
over.